Hi, I'm Dan McKay. I'm a reporter with the Albuquerque Journal, and I'm here with my colleague Dan Boyd. And things are definitely picking up here at the legislature. I had that feeling a few times this week where I needed to be in 2 or 3 places at once. It's been pretty crazy, but we started to see some legislation really start to move this week. One of the things my colleague Dan wrote about is the prospects for some new anti-crime legislation making it through the legislature this year. That's been an incredibly contentious issue between the Republican governor and the Democrats who control the legislature. What did you see? Is there some possibility that a few bills may make it through?
Yeah, I think there's the last few years there have been really some battle lines and not a lot of kind of middle ground on some of these issues when it comes to criminal penalties. And there's still some of that this year. There was bills dealing with the state's 3 strikes law that got tabled in their first committee and are probably dead for the session. But there's also a few new approaches, a few new things being brought to the table, like retention bonuses for officers who've been on the job for a while. That moved out of its first committee. So I think there is a chance that some of these things, could move forward. Still a long ways to go to the finish line, but there may be a little bit of a thaw on some of those.
Okay, that's interesting. Legislators also had a little reason to breathe easy this week. They got some new revenue figures. There's quite a bit more money this year than last year. What did you hear in the budget hearings? Is there a possibility that is there going to be a mad scramble for people to find ways to spend this money? What's on the horizon for that?
Well, I was talking to one legislator this week, and it's almost like a whiplash. You need a neck brace around here. Last year, they were looking for money everywhere, cutting budgets, and now all of a sudden, the newest numbers, there's almost $300 million in new money for this coming budget year, which is in excess of what we're spending right now. So that'll allow the reserves to be built back up, to backfill some programs that got cut, and maybe to give employees a little raise, teachers a little raise, and maybe some money for certain programs. But on the flip side, there's still a lot of caution because a lot of this new revenue is coming from oil prices, which are historically volatile, and who knows where they'll be a year from now.
I know from my own experience in meetings that money has been on the minds of legislators, all over the roundhouse. It sounds to me like they are going to have no trouble finding ways to spend this money. It's already, I'm already hearing people propose that they want to take some extra money and use it for school security, to fix a potential sinkhole in Carlsbad. Extra funding for the judiciary to help carry out changes to guardianship laws. I have a feeling legislators have plenty of ideas for how they're going to spend that extra money.
Yeah, I think that, and I think just kind of the overall mood of the session. People seem, better spirits. It's a lot easier when you got some new money to spend instead of, vice versa when you're talking about cutting programs. So, looking ahead, next week is already the midpoint of the session. Anything you're looking forward to, or you think you're going to be able to hang in there?
Yeah, my personal hygiene did take a little bit of a dive this week. I didn't manage to shave every day. But yeah, we're approaching the midpoint of the session. That's important for a couple of reasons. One is that there is a deadline for introducing new legislation. So we won't have new bills introduced in the latter half of the session. Also, the budget is getting close to leaving the House where it starts and going over to the Senate. So the Senate primarily acts on the budget by amending what the House does. And so we're reaching that critical point where the House is going to send a spending plan over to the Senate, and there can be a whole host of changes made there, and they can start passing the budget back and forth. But we are definitely heading into an important week. I hope you guys will follow along on Twitter, read us in the newspaper, shop at our advertisers, subscribe, visit our webpage at abqjournal.com/legislature, and thanks for following us, Dan's.
Yeah, and we look forward to bringing more coverage and trying to stay caffeinated things here as things heat up.